I've got a question here that says, Duncan, how come we got into this motel situation in the first place, as it appears to have occurred overnight? I agree with you, doesn't it? At 2017, 2016, this is when it was happening at the end of National's reign. I'll tell you my view of why I think this happened. We got addicted to immigration, like, giving free lollipops to kids. They kept grabbing them. And so this government became, almost addicted to these sugar hits to the New Zealand economy. It wasn't actually adding a whole heap to the New Zealand economy. There was certainly, some growth, but a lot of it was also artificial and also not great growth, because we were forcing vulnerable families and vulnerable people to the outskirts of the city. Real pressure on places like Auckland, which received, for every 150 people a week that came into Auckland provided houses for only 80 of them. Now, this went on for quite some time between 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. Now, you do the numbers on that, and suddenly you've got a crisis after 3 or 4 years, because no longer could you hide the fact that we were bringing more people into the country than we were building houses. And you can't couch surf and hide that for too long. And so then it builds up a mass, and it's obvious. And that was the problem. So we had all these people. New Zealand was an attractive target. People came. They poured through the gates, and National was at the gates opening the doors for them and carrying their bags and driving them to wherever they wanted to go. That's how keen National was to boost the economy, and that's the case. But at the same time, we were woefully planning our services like housing and associated things. That's why there's sewage on the beaches around Auckland, because we haven't kept up with the growth of the population. And I've said this already before in medicine as well, in the health system. What do? We funded a health system for, say, 4.2 million people. We didn't fund a health system for 4.8 million people. So that's why we've fallen behind. And we cannot hide for too long that fact and that stat. 150 people coming in, but only providing houses for 80 of them. So 70 people every week during that 4-year period are going without homes. So you're going to hide it for a bit, but suddenly you're at a level where there are tens of thousands of people waiting for state houses. And before you mention what about the National Party, they get their very own mental health ward to hide in, because they were so delusional on the housing front. They convinced themselves it wasn't a crisis. They ran around calling it a challenge. Can you believe it? Then flaky MPs like former National Housing spokesperson Jackie Dean turned up on the tally for a tussle, but she forgot to bring the brain muscle, and she told me that National had built 60,000 state homes. Can you believe this? After 9 years, she told me National had built 60,000 state homes. I told her it was 1,800. But someone in her party told her it was 60,000, and she wasn't budging or backing down. Later that day, she accepted that it wasn't 60,000. When would National build 60,000 state homes? National didn't build state houses. They weren't champions of that. They were selling them. They were popping them off, shutting them down, closing them. They wanted the private sector to get involved. But you show me the private sector developers who say, yes, John, we'll go and build the state houses for you. Yeah, we can't wait. In fact, we'll build them so cheaply that we can call them affordable homes. We'll cut our margins, said the private developers. Have you ever met those people? No. You have to incentivise those people. That's where the government comes in. And Nick Smith and John Key and Bill English, there wasn't enough just goodwill. There wasn't enough motivation to do it, you see. So Labour's come and built more state homes. They have. But you are doing a 20-year catch-up on state houses.
It's not a money issue. The government's got all the money in the world. If they could snap their fingers tomorrow and there'd be 1 million houses, they would. But there's only so much you can build. It's so fast a speed and through so much crisis. But, I don't know where you guys are looking, but Napier should be the poster child for housing New Zealand homes. It's brilliant what they've done. You go down to the Nui, it used to look like fair garbage, mate. Now it's this tidy, presentable. Oh, there used to be those horrible 2-story
I know the ones. Yeah.
Flat unity things, right? Full down there on a big section, ugly as, been destroyed. They tore them down on those same sections that probably house, 8 families. They now have multiple times that on the same areas. They've got these 2-story buildings, but they're separate individual buildings, so family per big-ass building. Then they've got these granny flat ones where it's a single garage and a 1-bedroom where they're in like a gated community. So only the tenants can have their cars in there, which that alone is just an outstanding plan. So that's available to your elderly people and stuff.
Now, what Housing New Zealand is doing, and this has been a massive change, they're getting rid of these sort of 3 and 4 bedroom homes, which has one person in them. So there's all this capacity that we're not using, and they're turning that one house into 4 or 5, as you say, because I see this in Auckland as well. And some of the solutions look really good now. And they're putting 1 bedroom places or 2 bedroom places on there for smaller family units or just the single guys, because that's the problem.
Yeah, just to suit those people, the elderly couple. But if you want to come see what state houses look like, come to Napier. But none of you seem to.
No, I know what they look like.
I know it's like it's the shittiest holes.
I know what they look like, and I know what the good ones look like too, because they were being all built around me.
Mate.
Yep. Right, because National started the accommodation supplement because rather than building state houses, they realised, hang on, we could put some money into the pockets of our mates who own these homes.